Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus, and I'm back. I had to interrupt my presentation a moment ago. Something happened. My time expired. I was talking to you about what would Jesus do at a time like this, or what would Jesus say at a time like this. And I wanted to finish that. I got to the part about what Jesus' true message in that short span of life that he had was about, and I'd like to start there again. Here's Jesus here on this earth as a child, as we all are. Grow up. And as some people are taught by evil, some are taught by righteousness. Some practice evil, some practice righteousness. Some respond as we all have responded, and some who are different than us respond a different kind of way. Well, what Jesus said in this lifetime was this: having represented the spirit of life, he wanted us to know that we are on this earth, but we are here to make a decision, to make a choice, whether we want to live in heaven or whether we want to live in hell, whether we want to experience heaven or whether we want to experience hell. We have the choice. We are here on this earth, put here on this earth, with that understanding that we can choose either way. If we choose to be righteous, it's going to be a heavenly type living. Just words, but a state of action as well. Or we choose to live a different kind of way, it's going to be a hellish type of living. Just words, but a different reality just as well. And so this is what is put before us. Now, what has happened, as I indicated before, is that while you get evil and righteousness here, now neither exists, it's just pure blank slate. But somehow, one persuaded the other to violate the rule. When it persuaded the other to violate the rule of righteousness, which they all both said they were, that meant compromise. And once you compromise, then you don't represent righteousness. What you have just done is empowered evil. And so that was the beginning of all that has happened on this earth. Evil, evil, evil. That doesn't mean that righteousness isn't here, but it is not the kind of righteousness that is required to free you. It is not the total truth. It's just a part that keeps you from going all the way, but yet you're flowing with the sway. And so Jesus came to let you know that if you want to be as best you can possibly be, if you wanted to give the most that you could give, if you were from God yourselves and reached out to try to heal the world with its problems, you would still be rejected. Why? Because this is hell. And if you did that, hell would do everything it possibly can to sway you, to buy you, to use you. And with all that the world has to offer, and all we know is what the world has to offer, we don't really know what God has to offer. So we will sell out, as people in government often do. We sell out. And so selling out means that you're no longer just compromising. You've possibly gone all the way. But Jesus' message is this: regardless of what they can offer you, none of it is worth anything. None of it is worth anything. So what is Jesus basically saying? There's a scripture somewhere that says about the straight and narrow. They talk somewhere about the broad and wide. The straight and narrow, ladies and gentlemen, is this: it's you as an individual. You can be led by God as much as you want to be led by God, but you can't change people. People have to change themselves. That's what it's all about. It's about people, individuals changing. You know, so you lead people. You lead people to where you go. You are free. You lead, they follow you everywhere you go. But everything that they are is what they bring with them. So the message that people must understand is that there's a requirement of you. A choice has got to be made by you. Do you want to live heavenly or do you want to live evil? Now, with evil, you can do anything. Everything goes. Lying, cheating, stealing, killing. You're going to be on top. You know, I told you about evil is taking all the land, put their name on it, took all the resources that have been known. They put their name on it. They use all of these things to exploit the people, the slaves, and so on and so forth. This is hell. So, to be born again, meaning that you've opened your heart up to receive, and you have accepted, and you walk accordingly, that means you see all the stuff, evil stuff out there. And your point of life from this point on is to expose that stuff, speak out against it. But not only just speak out against it, show and speak in words and follow suit with action of how to correct this problem. Correct this problem heavenly like. Now, the people might appreciate it, they might not. That's beside the point. You're representing righteousness. And there are people who can't stand it, especially if the people like it. And so what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned before in my other video, we're all going to die. Do we wait until time takes us out? Or do we choose our own time? Do we choose what we want as our epitaph? Do we choose? We got the chance. That's what it's all about. So what Jesus did through his living was saying, all that you can do in this earth, and all that this earth can give you, it's still hell. The requirement in righteousness is that you resist this evil world. Resist it by doing what? By pointing out the evilness and walking according to righteousness in its midst. Now, what's going to happen? The evilness of the world got a mission. They are going to kill you. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. They are going to kill you. Why? You messing with their game. Evil. Haven't you listened to what Trump and those guys be saying? They got their guns. They're ready to take you out like nothing. They got noose. They're ready to hang you. They're cutting people's heads off with machetes. These people, these evil stuff I have I'm not, what, there are no limits they won't exploit. So you're going to stand in their midst and tear down hell? No, you got to go. But here's the key, ladies and gentlemen. You know that. You know that. Your hope is that the people could wake up and the people could take the necessary action and change here. But that's not going to happen. I'm telling all you people out there who think you want to serve God and think you righteous and all that kind of stuff, I'm trying to tell you, you got to keep on stepping up. We are not there yet. My here talking to you today is a part of my step it up. I'm not there. Oh, brother, I'm still living. I'm still breathing right here. This means that I'm still in hell. But I want to make sure that I'm speaking the words of truth. And as best I possibly can, walk according to what I'm saying. The things that I'm not sure about, I don't talk about. I talk about what I know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm saying to you, to put it bluntly, to all you out there who are trying to say you love God, according to what I have been given to understand, is this. Righteousness. And it seems to be, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me, especially when you talk about the angels in heaven. And then some Lucifer came around and corrupted everything. It just makes sense to me to be able to say, okay, well, next time, you get, even God, perfection comes from continuously growing. God used to be with, horse and buggy. But now God is with spaceships. So I can see God putting people on the earth, giving them a certain amount of information that's equal across the board, and allowing them to learn from their experience and in how they indulge themselves and walk according to whatever choices they make. One will lead to a heavenly type of living. Doesn't mean it's going to start that way, but it always starts that way till something happens. But it doesn't mean it's going to stay bad if you go bad. It always got, as long as you're living, you got the opportunity to change. You got the opportunity to stand up for truth. I'm not talking on your deathbed. You walked in and sin all your weight, and now you're there in your bed dying, telling the Lord, forgive me. I'm not talking about that because I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. I'm telling you that God is giving you a chance to choose while you can, when you ain't got to be begging. When you choose, Lord, I commit my life to you. I'm not going to be a sign for evil. I'm going to be a sign for righteousness. And everybody know it because they're trying to get you off this planet. They shooting at you. They got you, and You ask Dr. King, ask Gandhi, ask Malcolm X, ask men who have stood up and people that I don't know, who are all across this country, across this world, who have stood up for what's right. And they've been murdered and murdered and murdered because they stood for what was righteous. What was righteous. Some people say John F. Kennedy was murdered because he stood for what was right. I don't know. Say Robert Kennedy was killed because he stood up for what was right. I don't know. They said John Brown was murdered because he stood up for what was right. I don't know. But I do know, if you standing up for what's right, and you know you're standing up for what's right, and you know they'll kill you, and you saying that's your next move, you know, you can stand up for what's right and get mellowed out. And all of a sudden, you lost your energy. You can't move around. You can't do the work for God that you hoped you could do. And now you're just existing around, going through all of the hell of this earth, sicknesses and diseases, just going through it. They won't even allow euthanasia. They won't even allow you to take yourself out, have somebody take you out. You just gotta hang around.